Hello, and welcome to today's trending contract, the Italian Job, set in Sapienza and supplied to us today by Creaky Skin. So with no briefing, we'll move straight on to our targets, and today we have 5 of them, along with a free map. And for today's challenge, we'll be starting at the harbour. We're going to have some lethal poison stored up in the ICA safe house, and we'll be bringing with us 2 vials of lethal poison and a silenced pistol. So right from the start and off the bat, we need to gain access to the church crypt area, and more specifically the priest's cell. So we're going to head down onto the beach and into the sewers, where we will find on our right a crowbar, and using said crowbar we can now bust our way through this gate. There we go, and then through the gate into the crypt just off to our left, and that is our second door we have dealt with, and then into the church croft area, I believe it is called, or the undercroft, and into the priest's cell. Now in here we will add a lethal poison to the glass on the table, and while we're here we may as well take out the surveillance system. So with all of that done, all that's left to do for this section is to make our way up into the church and trigger the priest's routine, which used to trigger on its own, but now we need to be within proximity, or at least I do anyway. So once the researcher goes into the confession booth, we can then move on, and that will play out itself over the course of the next 5 or 6 minutes. So while we're waiting for that to happen, we're going to make our way to the ICA safe house and up onto the building here via the drain pipe. We're going to retrieve our spare lethal poison while we're here, and then we have all of the poisons we require. We're going to grab Rocco's outfit as well, which will make our next task that little bit easier. In fact, it'll make it considerably easier. So once we have the outfit on, we're going to grab the lethal poison from the safe house. We're then going to make our way over to the ice cream parlour, which is across the plaza where Dr. Lafayette is currently located, and yet again we need to get within proximity of him to trigger his routine. I believe this one has always been the case. So we're going to make our way to the alfresco dining area outside the ice cream parlour. We're going to add our lethal poison to this glass right here, and then we're going to go and trigger Dr. Lafayette's routine. So that's him now dealt with. Once he starts talking on the phone, we can make our way back to the ICA safe house and into the Caruso villa, although to me that looks more like a mansion, but I do live in a 1-bedroom flat, so any place with more than 4 rooms looks like a mansion. So we're going to head back up into the ICA safe house, back through the building and out the other side. We're going to head over into the Caruso kitchen via the ledge here and in through the pantry window. And once inside, we are going to speak to Chef Marcello, and he will encourage us to deal with the spaghetti sauce.
Chef Marcello, I'm in the kitchen. Sorry, I'm late.
You're damn right you are. Never mind. You can finish this tomato sauce. Maybe you can get it right. I seem to be jinxed. When you're done, ring the dinner bell.
Sure thing, boss. I'll give it some love.
So once we've finished our conversation with the chef, we're going to stir the sauce on the cooker here briefly while Dr. Lafayette samples his coffee, and once he has been thoroughly dealt with, we can then stop stirring our pot here and add our lethal poison to it. So So that's all 3 lethal poisons now used up. We're going to go outside and, as the chef suggests, ring the dinner bell, and that will call the occupant Silvio Caruso to his alfresco dining area, which is just to our right here. So 3 targets effectively dealt with. We're now going to move on to Francesca DeSantis, and we are going to poison her as well, but we are out of lethal poisons, so we need to acquire one. And there just so happens to be a DNA specific virus targeted at Francesca DeSantis in the top floor of the Caruso Villa. So what we're going to do is make our way into the observatory building, up the stairs, onto the roof, into the attic, and down through the attic entrance here, there it is, into a storage room, and in here we will find ourselves a model ship. It's over in the corner, there you are. We're going to shoot the ship, and that will unveil for us the DNA specific virus, and we can then make our way back up and over the attic area. Be aware there are 2 guards in here. We are trespassing. Once their conversation plays out, they will leave. Luckily enough, we can get the job done before their conversation finishes, just as the priest Francesco goes down through his cell and samples his sacramental wine. So we are now officially 2 targets down. There is Francesca in her office, so all we have to do is open the door, throw the virus at her feet, and that will eliminate her and her only. So down she goes, and we are now 4 targets down with 1 more to go. So what we're going to do now is make our way back out onto the roof, and we're going to head back down to the ground floor, grabbing a propane cylinder along the way. And we are now going to take care of the butler. So we're just going to head all the way back down to the ground floor. Once we have our propane cylinder, we are going to have to wait out the guard in the corridor just behind us, but he should be leaving any moment now. And while we're waiting, we should see the end of Silvio Caruso, who should be walking away from his table as we speak. So that is now 4 targets officially dealt with and no longer our concern. So hopefully the guard has now moved away, which he is doing, though he has stopped at the doorway, but that's not our problem. We're going to cut through Francesca's bedroom, out into the courtyard, into the ground floor window here, and into the corridor beyond. We're not trespassing here, so we can just walk straight up behind the butler. We're going to drop our propane cylinder somewhere on the floor behind him, make our way off to the study on our left. Now there is 1 house cleaning staff member here. There she is. We're just going to wait for her to move away, and she will move off to the far end of the room, and we will have this bookshelf / counter thing between us and her, and we can then pull out our silenced pistol, and we can put 2 bullets into the propane cylinder. Now usually that door is closed, and we would have to move so that we can see the cylinder through the window panes. For some reason today the door has stayed open, so we can remain well hidden. So we're just going to drop that 2nd bullet into the propane, eliminate our final target, and then hop out of the window. And then all that's left for us to do is to make good our escape, and the nearest available safe exit will be out on the main road, and that would be the VW Beetle exit. And just as we arrive here, the tourist has made his way out into the middle of the road, so we get ourselves our bonus elimination. So there we go, 1 more trending contract taken care of, and once we get through this tunnel we will get confirmation all of our targets have been eliminated according to plan, and we had no objectives, and we get a silent assassin rating. I have been Anubis, and I will see you all in the next video.